The Oregon Heritage Commission is pleased to present a 2021 Oregon Heritage Excellence Award to the Eugene Lesbian Oral History Project. The Eugene Lesbian Oral History Project preserves an important part of discrimination, creativity, and resistance in Oregon that is otherwise lost. The large collection of video interviews and transcripts reveal the valuable contributions of the Eugene lesbian community to Oregon's enduring cultural, political, and social innovations. Having this collection online will allow these Oregon-based stories to be heard throughout the state, the nation, and the world. The project makes visible a story of discrimination and resistance with the goal to document the history of the lesbian experience in Eugene and the effect of this community on Oregon history and politics. In the 1970s through the 90s, Eugene was known as a lesbian mecca, drawing women from across the United States. They founded cornerstone organizations central to Eugene's history and influenced Oregon's political landscape. These women worked in collective businesses that were otherwise understood to be in the male domain, ran printing presses, were the leaders of Eugene community service agencies, worked in city and state government positions, and produced and disseminated lesbian culture. Linda Long, curator of manuscripts in the University of Oregon Special Collections and University Archives, and Judith Raiskin, professor of women's gender and sexuality studies, have created this ongoing project, interviewing and preserving the stories of older lesbians in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. To date, they have filmed 84 interviews and have collected photographs, journals, diaries, records, and other materials. The interviews reveal new angles on the histories of women, of the counterculture movement in the 1960s and through the 1980s, of feminism, of LGBTQ experience, of sexuality, of intentional communities, and of women's work in male-defined jobs.
In the 90s, and the city of Eugene had a new city ordinance that said you could not discriminate, among other things, relative to sexual orientation for housing. And I worked at the Housing Authority at the time. And I went to this meeting that was a bunch of rental owners in the area, and they were discussing it. And I was sitting right there at the table. There was probably 100 of these people, the rental owners. And there were people up front talking about this new city ordinance and saying, there's ways around it. And they were talking about how to strategize to not have to rent to gays and lesbians. And I'm sitting right there. And one of the things that they said was, somebody said, well, how can you do this? And they said, well, when somebody turns in an application, you can just tell. And I thought, but I'm sitting right here. How can you? So that was life-changing for me in that it was devastating. And I remember leaving the room and going off to the bathroom and just sobbing. Because they're talking about me, they're talking about my friends, they're talking about members of the community who are here contributing.
They not only shed light on these histories, but highlight contemporary issues that are relevant to aging lesbians and their communities. Once the interviews were safely preserved and made available on Oregon Digital, a website was created to serve as a landing page to help make the material accessible to researchers, students, and the public. The website also offers a sample of photographs and historical material from the collection that bring the history to life. This was a community-based archival project. In order to reach the interviewees, Linda and Judith needed to prove to their community their skill, respect for this history, and their ability to facilitate the depth and range of their storytelling and earn the trust of the community. All of the interviewees, with the exception of one, allowed their interviews to be made accessible to the public immediately. This project makes visible a specific and vibrant history that is otherwise lost, stands as one of the most extensive lesbian oral history projects in the country. Congratulations and thank you to Linda, Judith, and all those involved with preserving and providing access to the stories of the Eugene Lesbian Oral History Project.